The stars shone bright against the endless black of space. The diplomatic vessel Harmony drifted slowly toward the meeting point. Inside, Ambassador Taeho Kim adjusted his formal robes one last time before the historic meeting. "Are you ready, Ambassador?" asked his assistant Hajin. Taeho nodded. "As ready as anyone can be to meet a new species. The Council has high hopes for these humans." The Galactic Council had ruled space for over 300 years. They had met many new races and welcomed them peacefully. Humans would be the 43rd species to join their community. At least that was the plan. "Sir, the human ship is approaching," called out Sora, the ship's scanner operator. Her six-fingered hands moved quickly across the control panel. "It's smaller than we expected. Just a scout vessel." Taeho walked to the main viewing screen. The human ship was indeed small, perhaps 1/10 the size of the Harmony. It was sleek with smooth lines that reminded him of the ocean creatures from his home world. "Open communication channels," Taeho ordered. A moment later, a human face appeared on screen. The alien looked surprisingly similar to Taeho's own species, except for the rounded ears and different eye color. "This is Captain Gia Park of Earth Exploration Vessel Pioneer. We come with peaceful intentions and hopes of friendship," the human said. Taeho smiled and began the formal greeting he had practiced for weeks. "Captain Park, I am Ambassador Taeho Kim of the Galactic Council. We welcome humanity to the—" A loud alarm cut him off. Red lights flashed throughout the bridge. "What's happening?" Taeho demanded. Young Officer Daehyun, newly assigned to the Yer Council security fleet, stared at his monitor with wide eyes. His antennae twitched nervously as he reported to his commander. "The human vessel is activating something, sir. Energy readings are spiking." Commander Borum frowned at the readings. This was his first contact mission as well. The data showed unusual activity, but nothing that clearly indicated weapons. "Stand by," Borum ordered. It could be just their communication systems. But Daehyun was new and nervous. His homeworld had suffered from pirate attacks, and he had joined the Council fleet to prevent such tragedies. In his fear, he saw danger where there was none. "They're preparing to attack," Daehyun shouted, and before anyone could stop him, his fingers slammed down on the weapons control. "No!" screamed Borum, but it was too late. From the escort vessel, bright energy beams shot toward the human ship. The Pioneer had no chance. Its hull cracked open like an egg. Air and bodies spilled into the cold vacuum of space. On the Harmony's bridge, Taeho watched in horror. "What have you done?" he whispered. "Ambassador, we're receiving a transmission from the human ship," Sora said, her voice shaking. The screen flickered to life. Captain Gia Park's face appeared again, but now blood ran down her forehead. Alarms blared behind her. Parts of the bridge were on fire. "We came in peace," she gasped, holding her side where something had pierced her suit. "Remember that. Earth will know what happened here today." The transmission cut off as Gia dragged herself to an escape pod. It was the only one that launched. Before the Pioneer exploded in a bright flash, Taeho sank into his chair. "Track that escape pod. We need to save her." "I'm trying, sir," Sora replied. "But it's gone. It entered some kind of jump before we could lock on." "She's heading home," Commander Borum said quietly, "to tell her people what we did." The room fell silent. 23 humans had been on that ship. 22 were now dead. And the lone survivor was racing home with a story of betrayal. 3 weeks later, the council chamber on the capital world was filled with angry voices. Representatives from all 42 member species argued about what to do. "We must send a larger diplomatic team at once," shouted Councillor Yoonji. "Explain it was a terrible mistake." "No, we should prepare our defenses," argued Councillor Hyunki. "If these humans are hostile—" "We were the hostile ones," Taeho interrupted. All eyes turned to him. "I was there. The humans did nothing wrong. We fired first without cause." High Elder Minji, the oldest and wisest of the council leaders, raised her hand for silence. Despite her small size and age, her authority was absolute. "Ambassador." "Taeho is right," she said. "We have made a grave error. Our scans of the human home system show they are less advanced than us in many ways. but they have focused heavily on military technology. Holograms appeared in the center of the room showing human warships in orbit around their blue planet. These vessels are primitive compared to ours, continued Minji, but they have built many of them, and they have weapons our sensors cannot fully understand. So what do we do? Asked Yunji. We have sent messages of apology and offers of reparation, said Minji. They have not responded. Taiho looked at the images of Earth's ships. They were bulky and practical, not elegant like council vessels. They bristled with what were clearly weapons. Many weapons. Perhaps they are still deciding, Taiho suggested hopefully. Perhaps, said Minji, but it has been 3 weeks, with no response. Either their leadership is extremely cautious or... She didn't need to finish. Everyone understood the alternative. The humans were preparing for war. 6 months passed. The border outposts near human space reported no activity. The Council's messages continued to go unanswered. Some began to hope that the humans had decided to stay in their own system and avoid the wider galaxy. On the mining colony of New Harvest, at the edge of Council space, young technician Jinwoo yawned as he monitored the long-range sensors. His shift was almost over and nothing interesting ever happened here. Then a red dot appeared on his screen. That's weird, he muttered, tapping the display. The dot was big. Too big. He called his supervisor. Sunmi, I'm getting a strange reading. Could you check this? Sunmi looked at the screen and froze. Call the defense station now. Why? What is it? Something just entered our system. Something massive. The colony's small defense fleet scrambled to respond. Automated systems targeted the unknown object. A single warning shot was fired. Every system on every defense ship suddenly went dark. They floated helplessly in space. On every communication channel across the colony, a message played in perfect Council standard language. This is Admiral Sunwoo Kang of the Earth Naval Vessel Daewon. You fired first. We are here to answer. Jinwoo's screen showed the object clearly now. It was a ship, but unlike any he had ever seen. Over 3 kilometers in length, black as the space around it, with weapons ports along its hull that glowed with energy. The humans had arrived, and they had not come to talk. The New Harvest mining colony fell silent as the massive human ship hung in space above them. No one dared to move. No one dared to speak. The colony's leader, Governor Young-ho, stared at the main screen with his mouth open. 3 kilometers long, whispered his security chief Minho Lee. That's bigger than our largest space stations. The Daewon was unlike any ship the Council had ever built. Council ships were smooth and elegant, with gentle curves and glowing blue engines. This human vessel was dark and angular. It looked like a weapon given form. What do they want? Governor Young-ho asked, his voice shaking. As if in answer, the communication system activated again. Governor Young-ho of New Harvest Colony, said Admiral Sunwoo Kang. I request your presence aboard the Daewon to discuss terms. Terms? Young-ho repeated. Terms for what? For how you will pay for the deaths of our people. Minho stepped forward. Governor, you can't go. It's too dangerous. Young-ho looked at the massive warship on the screen. Do we have a choice? 2 hours later, Young-ho found himself in a small shuttle heading toward the human vessel. His hands gripped the armrests so tightly that his knuckles turned white. As they approached, he saw the true size of the Daewon. His colony's main habitat could fit inside this ship many times over. The shuttle looked like a bug next to it. They docked in a massive hangar bay. When Young-ho stepped out, he was met by rows of human soldiers in black armor. Their faces were hidden behind dark visors. They stood perfectly still like statues. A woman walked between the rows of soldiers. She wore a dark blue uniform with silver markings on the shoulders. Her black hair was pulled back tightly and her eyes were cold. I am Admiral Sunwoo Kang, she said. Follow me. They walked through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. Young-ho saw more soldiers but also regular crew members working at various stations. They all stopped to watch him pass. Finally, they reached a large room with a table in the center. A window showed the stars outside. "Sit," ordered Admiral Sunwoo. Young-ho sat. His legs felt weak. "6 months ago," Sunwoo began, "your people destroyed one of our ships, the Pioneer. 22 humans died, 1 survived." She touched a control on the table. A hologram appeared showing a woman's face. She looked similar to Sunwoo but younger. "This was Captain Jia Park," said Sunwoo. "My sister. She managed to escape in a pod and returned to Earth. She told us what happened before she died from her injuries." Young-ho swallowed hard. "It was a terrible mistake. We have tried to contact your people." "Yes, we received your messages," Sunwoo interrupted. "Empty words, no action." "We want peace," Young-ho insisted. "The Council has always welcomed new species." "By shooting at them?" Sunwoo's voice was sharp like a blade. It was one officer. He was young and afraid. "And where is this officer now?" Young-ho hesitated. "He was disciplined according to Council law." "Which means what?" "He was demoted and reassigned." Admiral Sunwoo's face hardened. "Demoted for killing 22 people." She stood and walked to the window. "Let me tell you about humans, Governor Young-ho. We spent most of our history fighting each other, war after war. We became very good at it. When we finally united and looked to the stars, we hoped to find peace." She turned back to him. "Instead, we found you." Young-ho felt cold fear run down his spine. "What do you want from us?" "Justice," said Sunwoo. "And insurance that this never happens again." News of the human warship spread quickly through Council space. Emergency meetings were called. Military vessels were mobilized. Panic grew with each passing day. In the Grand Council chamber, young diplomat Ji-woo Choi addressed the gathered representatives. "We must surrender the officer responsible and offer reparations," she argued. "The humans have shown remarkable restraint. They could have destroyed the new harvest colony, but they chose to talk instead." Elder strategist Hyuk Yoon disagreed. "This is clearly a show of force meant to intimidate us. If we give in to their demands now, what will they demand tomorrow? We must stand firm and show our strength." High Elder Minji listened to the debate with growing concern. Reports from intelligence agents painted a troubling picture. "Is it true," she asked, "that the humans have more ships like the Day One?" Admiral Jinky, head of the Council fleet, stepped forward. "Our scans show that the Day One is unique, but the humans do have many smaller warships, and our intelligence suggests they are building more." "How many more?" Jinky hesitated. "Dozens, possibly. Hundreds. They seem to have converted much of their industry to shipbuilding." Mutters of alarm spread through the chamber. "Can we defeat them?" asked Councillor Yoonji. "The Day One alone has weapon systems we don't fully understand," Jinky admitted. "It disabled our defense fleet without firing a single shot, just turned everything off." "Some kind of advanced electromagnetic pulse," suggested Hyuk. "We can develop countermeasures." "In time, perhaps," said Jinky, "but not now." High Elder Minji raised her hand for silence. "What are their demands?" Ji-woo consulted her notes. "They want Officer Dae-hyun, the one who fired on their ship. And they want a formal alliance that guarantees no human vessel will ever be fired upon again without clear provocation." "That seems reasonable," said Yoonji. "Except, we cannot surrender one of our citizens to foreign justice," Hyuk objected. "It goes against our most basic laws." Minji closed her eyes, thinking deeply. "Send a message to the human admiral. Tell her we need time to consider." Back on the Daewon, Admiral Sunwoo received the Council's message with a frown. "They're stalling," said her second-in-command, Captain Dongmin. "Of course they are," Sunwoo replied. "They hope to find a weakness or develop defenses against us." She looked at the tactical display showing the positions of Council ships gathering at various points. "They still don't understand," she said quietly. "Should we demonstrate our capabilities again?" asked Dongmin. Sunwoo nodded slowly. Yes, but not with lives. I made a promise to Gia that we would seek justice, not revenge. She studied the map of council space. Here, she said, pointing to a location. Their primary military shipyard. We'll show them what we can do. That night, as the council leaders argued about what to do, every system at their largest shipyard suddenly failed. Lights went out. Computers shut down. Communication networks fell silent. No council ship detected any human vessel in the area. No weapons were fired. Nothing was destroyed, but the message was clear. The humans could reach anywhere, at any time, and do whatever they wanted, and next time, they might not be so gentle. 11 days the Daewon stayed in orbit around the New Harvest colony. It did nothing. It just waited. The colony people lived in fear, looking up at the night sky where the massive ship blocked out the stars. On the council capital world, emergency meetings continued day and night. The military shipyard was still dark. Thousands of half-built ships floated uselessly in space. The best engineers in the council could not fix the systems. How did they do it? Demanded Admiral Jinky. There was no human ship detected anywhere near the shipyard. We don't know, admitted Chief Engineer Yuna. All the systems just stopped working, like they were turned off by a master switch we didn't know existed. High Elder Minji looked tired. She had not slept well since the humans arrived. We must make a decision, she said. The humans have shown what they can do. Next time they might target a habitat. Lives could be lost. They won't attack civilians, argued Jiwoo Choi. Look at what they did to the shipyard. No one was hurt. They could have killed everyone there, but they didn't. This time, said Hyuk-yoon darkly. What about next time? After much debate, they reached a decision. Chief Negotiator Do-hyun Choi would be sent to speak with the humans. He was young but brilliant, with a special talent for understanding different cultures. I'll do my best, Do-hyun promised. Remember, said Minji, our laws forbid surrendering a citizen to foreign justice. Find another solution. The council diplomatic vessel approached the Daewon with caution. Do-hyun stood on the bridge, dressed in his finest robes. His heart beat fast, but his face showed calm. They're hailing us, said the communication officer. Moment later, Admiral Sunwoo's face appeared on screen. Chief Negotiator Do-hyun, she said. You are permitted to come aboard. One shuttle, no weapons. The transmission ended. That was a brief, said Do-hyun's assistant. Do-hyun nodded. They are not interested in ceremony. When Do-hyun's shuttle landed in the Daewon's hangar bay, he was struck by the sheer size of the space, the council's largest. Diplomatic vessel would fit easily inside this single room. Admiral Sunwoo waited for him, flanked by 2 officers. Unlike Governor Young-ho's visit, there were no rows of soldiers. Do-hyun wasn't sure if that was a good sign or not. Welcome aboard the Daewon, said Sunwoo. Her tone was formal but not friendly. Thank you for receiving me, Admiral, Do-hyun replied with a small bow. I come with the Council's response to your demands. Sunwoo led him through the ship. Do-hyun noticed how efficiently everything operated. Crew members moved with purpose. No one wasted motion or time. They entered a conference room where a large window showed the stars. The colony was visible below them, its lights twinkling against the darkness. Please sit, said Sunwoo, gesturing to a chair. As Do-hyun sat, he noticed a picture on the wall. It showed Sunwoo standing with another woman in a similar uniform. They were smiling. That is you and Captain Park, Do-hyun said softly. Sunwoo's eyes narrowed. You've studied us. It's my job to understand those I speak with, said Do-hyun. I know she was your sister. I know her loss must cause you great pain. For that, the Council offers its deepest apologies. Apologies don't bring back the dead, Sunwoo said flatly. No, they don't, agreed Do-hyun. Nothing can. But they are a starting point. He took a data pad from his robes and placed it on the table. The Council has authorized me to offer reparations to the families of those lost on the Pioneer. We propose a payment of, we don't want your money, interrupted Sun Wu. We want justice. The officer who fired on our ship must face human courts for his crimes. Do-hyun took a deep breath. I understand, but our laws forbid surrendering a citizen to foreign justice. It is one of our oldest and most important rules. Then we have nothing to discuss. Sun Wu stood up. Please, said Do-hyun. There must be a solution we can both accept. What if Officer Dae-hyun faced a council court, but with human observers to ensure justice is served? Sun Wu shook her head. Not good enough. What about joint jurisdiction? A court with both council and human judges. I have my orders, negotiator Do-hyun. The officer must face human justice, and we must have a guarantee that no human ship will ever be fired on again without clear provocation. Do-hyun felt his hopes fading. The second demand we can meet. The council is prepared to sign a formal alliance guaranteeing the safety of all human vessels in council space. And the first demand? Do-hyun spread his hands. I cannot go against our most basic law. Please understand our position. Admiral, Sun Wu looked at him for a long moment. Then she touched a control on the table. A hologram appeared, showing Earth. Let me help you understand our position, she said. This is our homeworld. For most of our history, we fought each other. Tribe against tribe. Nation against nation. We nearly destroyed ourselves many times. The hologram changed, showing scenes of human wars. Do-hyun watched with wide eyes. When we finally found peace, we looked to the stars with hope, continued Sun Wu. The pioneer was sent to make friends, not enemies. My sister believed in peace. Her voice grew hard. But we learned long ago that peace must be protected. Those who commit crimes must face consequences. Otherwise, there is no justice, and without justice, there is no peace. Do-hyun nodded slowly. I understand. But no, I don't think you do, said Sun Wu. We lost 23 lives in what you call an unfortunate misunderstanding. 23 families who will never see their loved ones again. One of those was my sister. She turned off the hologram. You have 24 hours to reconsider your position. Then we will take action. What kind of action? Asked Do-hyun, feeling cold fear settle in his stomach. That depends on your answer, said Sun Wu. I hope it will be the right one. Back on the council capital, Do-hyun reported his meeting to the leaders. They won't compromise, he said. It's Officer Dae-hyun or nothing. And if we refuse? Asked Minji. They didn't say exactly, Do-hyun replied. But given what they did to the shipyard, I believe they could do much worse. The council chamber was silent as everyone considered the options. Perhaps, said Ji-woo hesitantly, we should consider changing our law, just this once. Never, said Hyuk firmly. If we surrender once, where does it end? Today it's Dae-hyun. Tomorrow it could be any of us. As they argued, a message arrived. Every screen in the chamber suddenly showed the same image. Admiral Sun Woo-kang's face. Council leaders, she said. Your negotiator has explained your position. I understand your reluctance to change your laws. So let me show you what happens when laws are too rigid to allow justice. The transmission ended. A moment later, alarms sounded throughout the capital. What now? Asked Minji. Admiral Jinky checked his datapad and went pale. The central bank systems have all shut down. Every financial record, every transaction frozen. The council leaders looked at each other in shock. Without the banking system, trade would stop. Supplies would not move. Chaos would spread. The humans had struck again. Without firing a single shot, they had shown their power, and they were still waiting for an answer. The council was in chaos. With the central bank systems frozen, trade stopped across all 42 worlds. Food shipments waited in orbit. Medical supplies could not be purchased. People began to panic. We must act, demanded Admiral Jinky. This cannot continue. High Elder Minji looked around the council chamber. What do you suggest? Military action, said Jinky firmly. The Daewon is just one ship. Large, yes. Powerful, yes. But still just one ship. One ship that shut down our shipyard and our banking system without firing a shot. Jiwoo reminded him. Because we let it, said Jinky. We've been too afraid to act. I have a plan to neutralize the human vessel. Minji sighed. Tell us your plan, Admiral. Jinky stepped forward and activated the hologram display. A map appeared, showing the space around New Harvest Colony. The humans have been sending small scout ships to collect mineral samples from this asteroid field, he explained, pointing to a cluster of dots. The Daewon itself visited the area twice. So? Asked Counselor Yoonji. So, we set a trap, said Jinky. I've assembled our best ships. 30 vessels hidden among the asteroids. When the Daewon returns, we surround it and activate our new countermeasures. What countermeasures? Asked Hyok. You said yourself we don't understand their technology. Our engineers have been working day and night, Jinky replied. We've developed shields that should block whatever they use to shut down our systems. And if that fails, we can still use conventional weapons. Minji looked troubled. This is a dangerous game, Admiral. If you fail, if we do nothing, the humans will bring our civilization to its knees without firing a single shot, said Jinky. We must show strength. After much debate, the Council approved the plan. Admiral Jinky would lead the operation himself, aboard his flagship, the Star Guardian. I won't fail, he promised. Admiral Jinky's finest officer, Captain Yoonha Yoon, stood on the bridge of her ship, the Swift Hunter. Her vessel was hidden behind a large asteroid, engines cold, sensors in passive mode only. Any sign of the human ship? She asked her scanner operator. Nothing yet, Captain, replied the young officer. Wait, I'm detecting something entering the field. Yoonha tensed. Is it the Daewon? Yes, Captain. Moving slowly among the asteroids. It appears to be scanning for minerals, as predicted. Yoonha touched her communication panel. Admiral, the target has arrived. Good, came Jinky's voice. All ships prepare to execute Plan Starfall on my mark. Yoonha's crew moved quietly to their stations. Special shields hummed to life, designed to block whatever technology the humans had used against them before. 3 minutes until we're in position, reported Yoonha's second-in-command. On her screen, Yoonha watched the Daewon drift deeper into the asteroid field. It seemed unaware of the trap closing around it. 2 minutes, said her second. Suddenly, Yoonha's sensor officer called out, Captain, I'm detecting an energy spike from the human vessel. What kind of spike? Asked Yoonha sharply. Unknown, but it's massive. The readings are off the charts. Yoonha's heart raced. Admiral, the humans. Her words were cut off as every system on her ship suddenly went dark. Emergency lights flickered on, casting an eerie red glow across the bridge. Shields failed, reported her engineer. Engines offline, weapons offline, everything is down except basic life support. Through the viewports, Yoonha saw the same thing happening to other ships in the fleet. One by one, they went dark, drifting helplessly among the asteroids. On the emergency communication channel, she heard Admiral Jinky's voice, tight with anger and fear. All ships report. What's happening? Then another voice broke in, calm, confident, female. This is Admiral Sun Woo Kang of the Earth Naval Vessel Daewon. Your ambush has failed, Admiral Jinky. Your ships are disabled but not damaged. Your crews are safe but powerless. Yoonha felt cold fear run down her spine. The humans had known they were there all along. How? She whispered to herself. As if in answer, small objects detached from the Daewon's hull. Hundreds of them, each no bigger than a food tray. They scattered throughout the asteroid field, moving with incredible speed and precision. Drones, said Yoonha's second-in-command. They must have detected us with those. The drones surrounded each council ship, maintaining position a few meters from their hulls. What are they doing? Asked a nervous crew member. Watching us, said Yoonha, making sure we can't restore power. On the main ship, Star Guardian, Admiral, Jinky stood helplessly as a small shuttle left the Daewon and approached his vessel. He could do nothing to stop it as it docked with his ship. The airlock opened. Human Marines in dark armor stepped onto his bridge, weapons ready but not raised. Behind them came a woman in a combat uniform with commander insignia. I am Commander Minji Song, she said. Admiral Sunwoo sends her compliments, Admiral Jinky. What do you want? Demanded Jinky, trying to maintain his dignity despite the situation. We could have destroyed every ship in your fleet, said Commander Song. Remember that the next time you consider an ambush, she gestured to Jinky, you will come with us. The Council has 24 hours to reconsider our terms. You're taking me prisoner? Jinky was shocked. That's against all rules of— You set a trap for a diplomatic vessel, interrupted Song. You forfeited the protections of diplomacy when you planned this attack. 2 Marines stepped forward to escort Jinky. He looked around at his crew, hoping someone would act, but what could they do? Their weapons didn't work. Their ship was dead in space. This isn't over, he said to Commander Song. She smiled slightly. Actually, Admiral, I think it is. Back on the Council capital, the news of the failed ambush spread quickly. 30 ships, the best in the fleet, disabled without a single shot being fired. Admiral Jinky taken by the humans. This is disaster, said Counselor Hayok. We've only made things worse. The humans knew our ships were there, said Minji. They let us set the trap, then sprung their own. How did they detect our ships? Asked Yunji. We used our best stealth technology. It doesn't matter how, said Jiwoo. What matters is that they did. And despite everything, they still didn't kill anyone. They could have destroyed our ships, but they only disabled them. A message appeared on the main screen. Admiral Sunwoo's face looked out at them. Council leaders, she said, your military action has failed. Admiral Jinky is unharmed and will be returned when our negotiations conclude. You now have 12 hours to meet our demands. After that, we will take further action. As the screen went dark, the council members looked at each other in silence. What more can they do? Wondered Yunji. I don't think we want to find out, said Minji quietly. Do-Yun, who had been silent until now, spoke up. High Elder, I request permission to speak with Officer Dae-hyun. Why? Asked Minji. Because, said Do-Yun, I think there may be another way to solve this. But first, I need to know if he's willing to help. Officer Dae-hyun sat alone in his small room. After the incident with the human ship, he had been moved to a remote outpost. His rank was lower, his duties minor. But the worst punishment was knowing what he had done. Every night, he saw the human ship exploding in his dreams. 22 lives ended because of his fear, his mistake. When the door chimed, he was surprised. No one visited him here. Enter, he called. The door slid open to reveal Chief Negotiator Do-Hyun. Dae-hyun jumped to his feet and bowed low. Sir, I didn't expect— Why are you here? Do-Hyun sat down on the room's only chair. The humans have returned, Dae-hyun. They want justice for what happened to their ship. Dae-hyun's antennae drooped. They want me. Yes. They demand that you face their courts for the deaths you caused. And the council refused, as our law requires, said Dae-hyun. Do-Hyun nodded. Yes, but now the humans have shown their power. They disabled our shipyard. They froze our banking system. They captured 30 of our best ships without firing a shot. They even took Admiral Jinky. Dae-hyun stared in shock. How is that possible? They are more advanced than we thought, said Do-Hyun, and they will do more if we don't meet their demands. What will happen to our people? Asked Dae-hyun quietly. Hardship, suffering, perhaps worse. Dae-hyun stood straighter. Then I will go. The council cannot order you to do this, said Do-Hyun. Our law forbids it. I know, said Dae-hyun, but I can volunteer. One day later, Do-Hyun stood with Dae-hyun on the landing pad of the council capital. A human shuttle waited nearby. A crowd had gathered to watch. Are you sure about this? Asked Do-Hyun. Dae-hyun nodded. I made a terrible mistake. 22 lives are gone because of me. If my punishment can save others, then it is right that I go. The humans have agreed that you will be treated fairly, said Do-Hyun. Their justice system includes defense lawyers and the right to speak on your own behalf. I don't need to defend what I did, said Dae-hyun. I am guilty. He walked toward the shuttle with his head high. The crowd watched in silence as the young officer who had started this crisis prepared to face human justice. The shuttle door opened. Inside stood Commander Minji Song. "Officer Daehyun," she said, "you have chosen to come willingly?" "Yes," said Daehyun. "I will accept whatever punishment your people decide." Minji nodded. "Then come aboard." As the shuttle lifted off, Do-hyun watched with mixed feelings. He had solved the immediate crisis, but at what cost? Would this satisfy the humans, or would they demand more? 3 days later, the Daewon prepared to leave council space. Admiral Sunwoo stood on the bridge watching the stars. "Admiral," said Captain Dongmin, "the council representatives have arrived." Sunwoo nodded. "Send them to the conference room." When she entered, High Elder Minji and Chief Negotiator Do-hyun were waiting. They rose and bowed slightly. "Thank you for seeing us before you depart," said Minji. "Of course," said Sunwoo. "Our business is concluded. Officer Dae-hyun will face trial on Earth. Admiral Jinky has been returned to you, and we have signed the alliance guaranteeing the safety of human vessels in council space." "Yes," said Minji. "But I have one question, if I may." Sunwoo gestured for her to continue. "Why did you not destroy us? You clearly had the power." Sunwoo was silent for a moment. "Destruction is easy, Elder Minji. Building is hard. We learned that lesson through centuries of war. We did not come to your space to conquer or destroy. We came seeking justice and security. And now?" asked Do-hyun. "Now we return home to tell our people that justice will be done, and that we have new allies among the stars." Minji stepped forward. "We would like to propose something more than just an alliance." Sunwoo raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "Cultural exchange," said Minji. "Your people clearly have much to teach us, and perhaps we have things to share as well." A small smile appeared on Sunwoo's face, the first they had seen. That might be possible. 1 year later, the first human cultural center opened on the council capital world. Hundreds of people lined up to learn about Earth culture, history, and science. Dr. Jisoo Hwang, a human xenobiologist, worked alongside council scientist Kyung-ho Shin to establish a joint research initiative. "Your technology is amazing," said Kyung-ho as they studied cellular samples in the lab, "but I still don't understand why your people focus so much on military development." Jisoo looked up from her microscope. "It wasn't really a choice. Earth is a dangerous place." "Dangerous?" asked Kyung-ho. Jisoo activated a hologram showing Earth's many predator species, natural disasters, and harsh environments. Humans evolved on a planet with more predators and natural disasters than any council homeworld, she explained. "We had to become tough just to survive." Kyung-ho studied the images with wide eyes. "This explains so much about your people. We prepare for the worst while hoping for the best," said Jisoo. "It's not that we want war, it's that we've learned through our history that peace must be defended." 5 years after the Daewon first appeared in council space, a new ship prepared for launch from Earth's orbital shipyard. The vessel was massive, even larger than the Daewon, but its design was different. Smoother lines, brighter colors. A blend of human and council technology. On the bridge, Admiral Sunwoo Kang looked around with pride. Her new second-in-command, Council Commander Yoonjin Park, stood beside her. "The new horizon is ready, Admiral," said Yoonjin. "All systems check out." "Good," said Sunwoo. "Is the science team aboard?" "Yes. Dr. Jisoo and Dr. Kyung-ho have their lab fully equipped." Sunwoo nodded and looked at the main screen. The vast, unknown space beyond the galaxy's edge waited for them. New stars, new planets, perhaps new civilizations. "You know," said Yoonjin, "when I first saw the Daewon in that asteroid field, I thought it was the end of everything." "And now?" asked Sunwoo. "Now I think it was just the beginning." Sunwoo smiled. "That's the funny thing about first impressions, Commander. They're not always right." She touched the communication panel. "All stations prepare for jump. Our mission, to explore beyond the galaxy's edge, to find new life and new civilizations, and to remember the lesson we all learned. Understanding comes from knowledge and peace comes from understanding. The mighty ship glowed with energy as its new hybrid engines powered up. Human and council crew members worked side by side, former enemies now united in discovery. As the New Horizon jumped away from known space, a small memorial could be seen in the ship's garden section. 23 names, the crew of the Pioneer, inscribed in both human and council writing. Beneath the names was a simple message. Their sacrifice taught us that peace is worth fighting for, but understanding is worth more than victory. The bye lesson had been learned. Underestimate humans at your peril, but earn their loyalty, and there is no more steadfast ally in the face of the universe's darkest threats.